The latest news and talk, hot, fresh, and delivered when you want it. Power 98.7. Now we're talking.
Actually, the reason why I took the call, Yara Puti, was because he actually had wanted to comment. At least that was a message on my screen that you had wanted to comment on a subject or a story that I want us to handle or deal with right now. The Constitutional Court has struck down Section 61A of the South African Citizenship Act, which automatically stripped South Africans of their citizenship upon them acquiring a second nationality. It also ordered the reinstatement of citizenship for all individuals affected by the section since its enactment in 1995. The court confirmed that the Supreme Court of Appeal's declaration of constitutional invalidity finding Section 61A of finding it inconsistent with the Constitution. The provision required South Africans to apply for and obtain a retention of citizenship letter before acquiring foreign nationality or face automatic loss of citizenship. All right, let's get more on this. Ashraf Esop is an immigration law expert. He joins me on the line. Good evening, and thank you so much for making time for us.
Good evening. My pleasure to be with you.
So let's understand what the ruling by the Constitutional Court actually means. So I've always been under the impression, and I think I'm about to be put right here, that dual citizenship was something that was permitted in terms of our law, because I happen to know so many South Africans that carry passports of, especially British passports, I know are a particularly common one, but people carry passports of other countries in the world. Just explain to us exactly what this ruling means and what the situation has been. Maybe let's just get clarity there. What the law, this act that was first enacted in 1995 actually said.
So basically, the entire act has not been scrapped, only a certain portion. And the portion that deals with what the Constitutional Court found to be unconstitutional first was dealt with by the Supreme Court of Appeals. Supreme Court of Appeals said, unlike the High Court, that look, you cannot automatically, and this is the emphasis, automatically strip somebody of their citizenship if they don't know that they could lose it. So what happened in 1995 was dual citizenship was allowed, but you had to apply to the Minister of Home Affairs to retain it. You had to say to him, look, I intend to take up UK citizenship on this date. Please, can you give me a certificate that entitles me to do so? The only two exceptions were minor children and people that were married.
Okay.
So in the case of one of the applicants, Mr. Plaatjes, his plight was highlighted in these cases. Mr. Plaatjes left South Africa, worked abroad, fell in love, married, and had children there. He didn't know that if he failed to get ministerial consent before he applied for UK citizenship, that's it. Your South African citizenship just disappeared. It was automatic.
Automatically, yes.
Court said automatic loss has to be frowned upon because citizenship is a constitutionally enjoyed right. It is a right in the Constitution. It is a right that says that everyone is entitled to South African citizenship, and no one may be arbitrarily denied South African citizenship. So such is the importance of citizenship, obviously due to our historical background. You remember in the days of apartheid, where Bantustans were created overnight, you woke up one day in South Africa and the next day you're a citizen of another country.
Indeed.
So in order to combat that, the Constitution said, no. We're not just going to let people lose their citizenship. Secondly, there was no plausible reason why such a rule was created. Although in the High Court, the department argued, look, it's not like they're losing it. It's that they have a choice before they lose it to go and apply for retention. But now remember, that only deals with people who know about this. People like Mr. Plaatjes, who stayed abroad for many years, didn't know that you would automatically lose it. So that's what the Constitutional Court ruled today as unconstitutional, and it upheld the Supreme Court of Appeals' decision to declare that section of the Citizenship Act unconstitutional. So you lose nothing in terms of citizenship. You're still allowed dual citizenship, but you're protected against automatic loss. And interestingly, it goes back to 1995. So all those people that between the enactment in 1995 to 2025 lost citizenship automatically have all been saved by this judgment.
So now, I suppose, depending on individual cases, somebody who lost their citizenship automatically in this way back in 1995 could have actually suffered some serious damages as a result. Like, for example, not being maybe able to access, I don't know, social grants or other things that South African citizens are entitled to. Would those people then have recourse in the form of some kind of a damages action against the state?
Yeah, remember, damages is predicated upon something being unlawful.
Right.
It was not unlawful at that time. So you'll have a difficulty proving damages. Unless there was negligence, unless it didn't fall, and there's a number of people in that situation. It didn't fall under automatic loss, but Home Affairs negligence led to you losing your citizenship. By that I mean Home Affairs is the only authority in South Africa that is supposed to manage, safeguard, and protect our identities. It's the only department. If they had acted negligently, and we've seen such cases, where they've said, oh, you're not a citizen for A, B, and C reasons, this has got nothing to do with automatic loss. It's got everything to do with deprivation. If you're unlawfully deprived of your citizenship, unlawfully, then you may have a claim for damages. Of course, you have to prove the other elements of dealing, such as negligence, duty of care, etc.
The cases that you cited, Ashraf Esop, the Plaatjes case, how far do these ones date back? And is this something that they started to fight immediately on discovering that this is the fate that had befallen them?
No, Plaatjes was only recently in the 2000s. Remember here, I mean, it's interesting when you raise such a point, right? Because of, let's say for argument's sake, we are 60 million citizens. What portion of our citizenry enjoy dual citizen? I think you can guess that most of it would be
tiny.
From European countries and certain countries in the Middle East. So it affects a small part of our population, but it was deemed sufficiently important to protect that population that the DA tested this legislation in court. It's quite correct for them to have done so. But the beneficiaries of this kind of, let's say, judgment going back to 1995, I think it can't be more than 1 million. I'll be very surprised.
I would be very surprised as well if it were even higher than that. So if we were to sum it up, Ashraf Esop, what is the most significant thing then about this judgment?
It's significant that people have realized that A, there is a constitution, B, constitutional rights are sacrosanct, and they must be protected, irrespective of the underlying motive. And C, the Constitutional Court upheld it, explaining the rights of citizenship and why it's important. One of the things you would realize that citizenship is important is the recent COVID pandemic. If you're not a citizen and you were out in the world, you couldn't return to South Africa. But if you're a citizen and you were anywhere in the world, you could come home. That is how important it is. In the matter of Kaunda versus the state president, a 2000 decision in the Constitutional Court, a group of mercenaries were on their way to bugger up some African nation, and they landed in Zimbabwe, and there was blood or something coming out of the engine cowling. They were arrested, and these were mercenaries going to blow up a legitimate government. I forget the country now. Yet, when they were arrested, you as a citizen can call upon your government and say, hey, I need diplomatic help here.
Yes.
I need somebody to come and speak to me. As you see with the number of detainees for drug and other related offenses around the world, or disasters, then your government has to step in and say, you enjoy the protection of being a citizen and all your rights that flow from citizenship. There's a lot of rights that flow. The right to earn an income, the right to a passport, the right to enter and leave the republic. freely.
Okay.
The rights,
Before I release you, Ashraf Esop, let me see. We've got a caller who wanted to put a question to you here. Here we go. Jerry is in Letlhabile. Jerry in Letlhabile, keep it nice and short for me. Go for it.
Isn't it peculiar that we are told that we deserve the right to become citizens of the Republic, but we are not? We don't have the right to own the land, because if ever you are a citizen of the Republic of any country, you must also claim the land, because you cannot become a citizen of air. I come from the motherland where my forefathers has been stripped of their land. What about that? Isn't it open the can of worms? Thank you.
No, but it's not that you're deprived of it. There's a Land Restitution Act that has been there for 20, 30 years.
And you're not precluded by law. You're not precluded by law. You're not precluded by law from owning land.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you were unlawfully deprived, well, you had to put in a claim. In fact, no citizen and no foreigner is prevented from investing and owning land in the Republic. I think that maybe the mix-up is coming with whether you have a right and whether you can exercise that right. Nothing stops you from exercising the right. You may not have the financial means or whatever else.
Right. So now, in terms of the way the act was, let me just get some clarity on this. If I, as a foreign national, or let's say a national of another country, wanted to acquire South African citizenship, I would have had to relinquish the country of origin, or what?
No.
Not even.
Up to this day, you can acquire South African citizenship if you go through the naturalization route, right? All you need is a consent letter from your government saying, we have no objection to Mr. X taking up South African citizenship. That's all. And you're going to apply.
But we took a different posture to people.
Yes. And it was interesting to say, on the one hand, we were so devastated by our loss of citizenship due to political means and ends. And then put in a clause that says, if you acquire citizenship of another country, you automatically lose South African. The only break on the automatic is a letter from the minister giving you consent. As you know, the department is not very well known for keeping deadlines, and you could wait months, if not years, to get consent.
Ashraf Esop, as always, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking our call. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Goa.
He is an immigration law expert, the immigration law expert, Ashraf Esop there. I feel like I don't ever hear any other lawyer talking about immigration issues. So there you go. Just clarifying what this court ruling actually meant. I thought it's worthwhile just understanding what this ruling, this judgment was by the did. Basically, if someone wishes to take up the nationality or the citizenship in another country, they cannot immediately be disqualified from their South African citizenship or have their citizenship revoked. That's what that story tells us.